Hey, Dave here. As I was editing this episode you're about to hear, the news broke that Kevin Conroy passed away at the age of 66 from a short battle with cancer. For the few of you who don't know, Kevin was just celebrating 30 years of playing Batman. His last tweet was showing off Halloween bat decorations at his house, which he playfully referred to as Wayne Manor, by the way, which... The man was prolific. He had a lot of acting credits, but he knew which character meant the most to his fans and which one meant the most to him. And while other actors may have become bitter about a big IP character somewhat defining them, he embraced it with warmth and humor and reverence. And while also supporting the actors who played the character before and after. He began playing Batman to great acclaim in 1992's Batman the Animated Series, and he continued to play the role in subsequent animated series and films, video games, and of course, he even got to play him in live action during the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. I read overall it was something like 60 different projects where he played Batman. I know I'm not alone when I say that I have heard Kevin Conroy's booming, gravelly voice pulsating out of almost every Batman comic I've read since I was 8 years old, since 1992. He wasn't the first Batman I saw, nor the second. Those honors go to Michael Keaton and Adam West. He wasn't the only Batman I've enjoyed either. I embrace every actor who has attempted to find what makes this character so special, to find themselves behind the cowl, just as Kevin did, and to make it their own. Of course, some I like better than others, but for me, when I think of Batman, I only think of one man. Kevin Conroy will forever be my Batman. Jason and I, honestly, we're heartbroken. And we honestly hope that everyone will take this opportunity to go back, experience his definitive version of Batman in the Batman and Superman animated series, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, the Arkham games, and the myriad other projects where he has absolutely killed it as the Caped Crusader. And by the way, Kevin Conroy made his debut as a comic book writer earlier this year through DC Pride 2022, which was a 100-page anthology that put the spotlight on many of DC's LGBTQ plus characters and creators, and this year's installment featured his story, Finding Batman. In honor of Kevin, DC has made the entire DC Pride 2022 anthology available for free through the DC Universe Infinite app. Go check that out. It is a fantastic read and gives you a lot of perspective on who the man was behind the voice. All right, on to the show. On this episode of DC On Screen, we have tasty tidbits from the WBD Q3 call, lots of very interesting teases from Jason Momoa and James Gunn about Lobo, word from Zack Snyder about whether he's been contacted by the new regime, plus a renewal for the Sandman and a cancellation for another DC show. All that and so much more coming up right after these words from the sponsors of Mystery. Welcome into DC On Screen, the podcast that talks all about what they're doing over at DC Studios on film and television. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my scruffy co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
You are scruffy.
I am.
I am too, though. We're quite scruffy.
Week's worth of being sick and no self-care.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
My back is awful right now. Like, my ribs are all out, so every time, I turn, if I'm trying to sleep, I turn, and it's just, I wake up in agony. I'm like, ah!
I feel like during Halloween, when you drive around and see skeletons on people's yards, you look at the skeleton and are like, fuck you, bragging motherfucker.
Whenever I see that skeleton in your house, that Evelyn now has in her room.
Year-round.
I just think...
It's her friend.
That's what they're supposed to look like.
I hope they have them up this year. I can shoot you over to the 30-foot tall skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
In some yard near where, across the street from my old middle school.
Yeah.
Where apparently people think this is literally blasphemy. Like they get notes on their door about, because they don't just put them up for Halloween. They like let them go through the seasons. So they'll put pumpkins around and a little hat, and then later they'll have like a Santa hat.
Mm-hmm.
People think that's sacrilege. It's weird.
I'm a fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas, so I guess I'm...
It's kind of what it turns into. It's just basically Jack.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to hell. I don't know.
For celebrating the winter solstice.
I'm not even celebrating the winter solstice or Halloween, or I'm just celebrating Disney at this point. I mean, they've kind of co-opted everything.
They did.
They literally bought Christmas and Halloween in one fell swoop. All right, so yeah, before we get into this Q3 earnings call that WBD had with David Zaslav and a number of other individuals, and I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm just going to kind of gloss over some of the DC pertinent things. However, over on our Patreon, I actually just downloaded and posted the entire Q3 earnings call. If you're interested, it's on Patreon right now. On patreon.com/DC on screen. I posted it this morning, and our friend our friend Effie Oppelders was like, "Yay, you posted the Q3 call." And I was like, I had no idea anybody would give a shit, you know. I was like, this might be interesting to somebody. Yeah, man,
I liked it.
But,
I liked the scoop. I don't like everything I heard, but whatever.
Before we get into that, though, I want to start off with something really fun. As you know, and hopefully everyone listening knows, James Gunn and Peter Safran have stepped in. They're co-chairs and co-CEOs of the newly minted DC Studios. Mm-hmm. And on Twitter, Gunn shared a comic book panel of Clark Kent typing away furiously, saying, "Got to restrain myself, or I may absent-mindedly punch this typewriter into twisted wreckage." The caption photo being, "First day, new job." I love like the passion that this dude has that James Gunn has for DC, and that he's so excited to get to work on this.
No, he's absolutely a geek, and they just gave him the keys.
Yeah,
this will be interesting one way or the other.
It's like,
I'm not saying it's going to work necessarily. I think it will. I really do. But
I hope it will.
In 4 years, one way or the other, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. He also posted a few days later, "When people ask how Peter Safran and I settle our differences while running DC, I tell them I do it how we've always done it, as this photo from a few years ago shows." And it's a picture of them playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I think is great. It's a nicer game than what David Zaslav has been playing recently. Sorry.
Transitioning into
yeah. So, like I said, I'm gonna hit the high notes here. He says, "I spent a lot of time over the last few months with James and Peter talking about our strategy and long-term plans for the future of DC across TV, animation, and film." And he's talking about James Gunn and Peter Safran. And he says they have a powerful vision and blueprint that will drive a more unified creative approach that will enable us to realize the full value of one of the world's most iconic franchises. They're hard at work right now. I believe that. I think it's funny that he says they have a blueprint because of all that Zack Snyder's The Blueprint thing. Yeah, that came out.
Yeah.
I've seen some people kind of be like, "He said blueprint."
It's a very commonly used term.
Yeah, I know.
Hold your horses on that one.
You know, it's how like it really is. It's like how anytime a celebrity says God, then like all the Christians say like, "He's the Christian artist."
Oh, is that a real thing?
Oh my God, you didn't know?
No.
You grew up the same way I did.
Yeah, no, I don't spend that much time with my parents.
No, my parents aren't the people to reference there. But no, it's just when I was coming up, that's Scott Stapp. He talks about God and prisons, and he's talking about angels, and Creed. That's a Christian band. No, it very much is not. Stop saying that.
I mean, I grew up thinking that.
Yeah, because Christians are delusional about who is and is not a Christian. Just because they mention some vague myth of God. But it's the same way with Snyder cultists.
I mean, that could be true. Also, they deeply sounded like a youth band. So I was willing to buy that one.
Did they sound like a youth band, or did they sound like the natural progression from Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam?
You keep those words out your mouth.
Hey, look, man. It's the same way that you said. You said Van Halen was a natural progression from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I did.
There's always going to be bands that take the very worst of the best things and run with them.
Yeah, I accept your theory as valid.
And I'd rather think that the youth praise bands just sounded like Creed because that's what they were listening to.
No, and
they thought they sounded like they thought they were a Christian band.
I have a vague memory of the Creed guitarist talking about how he discovered Drop D and it blew his mind. I was like, Jesus, man. There are decades of that. Okay. I mean, that's fine. So, just albums worth of stuff. Soundgarn's over here doing tunings that have never been heard before. Hell, Tool's over here in Drop D for most of their. Yeah, just whatever. Okay, this is cool. We'll put this in Guitar World.
Oh Jesus, that's funny. David Zaslav says he did mention that they have signed a long-term deal with Matt Reeves, which we knew, but nice to hear it being said here, especially since there were rumors kind of floating around there for a minute that the Batman 2 wasn't happening.
No. No one is leaving that money on the table. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Twitter's a strange place, man. It's even stranger now with Elon.
Yeah. That's going to have to stew for a minute, but dear God.
So Zaslav
one's going to be like, no, I don't want that other $1 billion.
Right. Zaslav says that they're very excited about their robust film slate for next year. And he talks about their lineup, and it is a huge lineup, all right? I only included the DC ones, all right? He does mention The Flash, Shazam, Aquaman 2, and he mentions Blue Beetle.
Nice.
It says it's the first superhero movie starring a Latino character directed by Angel Manuel Soto. Also, I don't know where everybody got this idea that he was not going to do that they were not doing any more original HBO Max shows, because that's another thing you hear on social media a lot. And several times in this thing, he's talking about making exciting new series for HBO Max. I just think he's not wanting to make the ones that don't make money.
God, I know this is going to be such a gee thing to say for some people, but he's just been cutting shows that weren't making a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know about the movie,
Westworld,
because it might have. I sure as hell would have watched Batgirl, for instance.
Yeah.
But just the ratings part, that's trackable. That's something we can all look at.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things is he's actively talked about how movies aren't. It's not worth throwing millions of dollars, these $90 to $200 million into a movie that you're just going to show on HBO Max. But TV shows, if you release them weekly, I mean, that's different.
Yeah. I mean, analog version, Disney Plus, there's enough Star Wars content that I'm enjoying and Marvel content that I'm enjoying that even if there's a few weeks that lapse where I don't pay attention, I'm not dropping that app.
Right. And if you're making a TV show, let's say you're doing a Peacemaker show. Let me you're going to do what, 8 episodes, roughly 4 million an episode, 5 million with inflation recently. So, I mean, that's still like less than your average blockbuster.
Yeah. And for more hours on screen.
Mm-hmm. And more weeks that you're going to be drawing people in.
Yeah, you're definitely trending there.
Yeah. So,
I mean, memes about the opening for Peacemaker alone. Just Jesus.
Yep. So there's a point. It really does. They get they get into it so deeply. It's actually pretty interesting at times. He also says he said this line, it's deep in there, but he in the Q&A section, but he says there's also a huge amount of content that's not even on the platform that's sitting with us that hasn't been put to monetize in the marketplace. Ayer cut? He did say that
even then, like Gunn tweeted like today about waking up and seeing all the Ayer cut stuff and the what was the other one? Save Legends of Tomorrow thing.
Yeah. I was going to talk about it in a little bit, but yeah, he he opened up Twitter at the end of a long creative weekend to see the many tweets to hashtag Save Legends of Tomorrow and hashtag Release the Ayer Cut and fan support for other DC projects over the years. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful. As the new and first ever CEOs of DC Studios, Peter and I think it's important we acknowledge you, the fans, and let you know we hear your different desires for the pathways forward for DC. Although our ability to interact on Twitter has been lessened due to the workload of our positions, we are listening and open to everything as we embark on this journey and will continue to do so for the next few years. But all our initial, not forever, focus is on the story going forward, hammering out the new DCU and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television shows, and animated projects. We invite all of the DC fandoms from across the multiverse. I love that, the multiverse, he says, and everyone else as well into this new universe. We can't wait to reveal more. Yeah, we'll be fine.
You know, there's a part of me that wants to like put the black marks under my eyes, like in Predator kind of version.
Mm-hmm.
And just say like, we've been through this much. Get fucked. What? I mean, come at me, bro.
Well, you know, I would love for all the Snyder stuff to come to fruition and for lots of great new stuff to happen. But
of course,
I still say our best shot is with Gunn.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, even that message. I mean, think about what universes he was talking about when he pulled that in, like which hashtags he used. Mm-hmm. David Ayer, Save Legends, 2 very expansive pieces. Like one, Legends is part of the CW verse, which is not even theoretically, technically a part of this entire universe already.
Yeah,
like we're not being crazy about that. Like whether someone shows up is different, but they all exist. They're Prime, for God's sake. And then you have, you know, the Ayer thing. Like if the only thing he's saying is that we hear you, but we're not doing that right now. Okay, I get it. I mean, when was that movie released? 2015?
2016, August. Yeah.
Like, this isn't changing. It hasn't changed in 6 years. It's not going to change tomorrow just because he's there.
Yeah, no. Everything, I mean, still do your hashtags, whatever.
Like we mentioned before, he's got 4 years. He's going to build his own thing. And I mean, hell, I would do the same. Establish what you can while you have what you have. Mm-hmm. That would be the most important thing. Along the way, he's still like acknowledging what's happening, acknowledging the fans, and 2 very particular properties, in my opinion.
Yes, those are 2. Like I could understand the Ayer cut, but just like bringing up Legends of Tomorrow is an interesting thing to do. No one's screaming "Stay safe, Stargirl."
What's your next piece of news, man?
Sorry.
What were you getting at?
Oh, that's not my next piece of news.
Is
that's
it not?
dead last. No. I was going to keep talking about Zaslav was saying that they're focusing on franchises. Yeah, for spoilers for our show. David Zaslav says, now look, this is stupid. David Zaslav says in this call, we haven't had a Superman movie in 13 years. We haven't had a Harry Potter movie in 15 years. David, it is 9 years since Man of Steel and 16 years since Superman Returns, so neither one of those works. It has been 11 years since the last Harry Potter, and the last Fantastic Beasts movie, which is in the Harry Potter universe, just came out this past April. What the hell are you talking about? What is your math?
I think he's just talking about the OG cast as far as how that goes.
If he's talking about the OG cast, he's still wrong. It's been 11 years.
I believe that too.
He was wrong on every one of those numbers.
Yeah.
Woefully so.
The only one I can make sense of is the 2013 part. Like, if it was 2013 when that was released, then he thought 13 was the number that hit his brain.
Maybe.
For Man of Steel. That's all I got.
Maybe.
Rest of that is ridiculous.
He says the DC movies and Harry Potter movies provided a lot of profits to Warner Brothers Motion Pictures over the past 25 years. House of the Dragon is a big example of that. Game of Thrones taking advantage of Sex and the City. Lord of the Rings. We still have the right to do Lord of the Rings movies. Apparently there actually is one in production that's coming out in 2024. But he didn't say that. He didn't bring that up. Weirdly. He says you focus on the big movies, the tent poles that people are going to leave home, leave early from dinner to see. Talking about how big movies, big tent poles make 2 or 3 times more in the U.S. is what he's talking about. Then with direct-to-streaming movies, he says, we learned what doesn't work, and this is what doesn't work for us based on everything that we've seen. Direct-to-streaming movies. So spending $1 billion or collapsing a motion picture window into a streaming service. The movies that we launch in theater do significantly better, and launching a 2-hour, 40-minute movie direct-to-streaming has done nothing for HBO Max in terms of viewership, retention, or love of the service. He says the entire library shouldn't be on HBO Max and paid for by HBO Max. We have an extraordinary library, Friends, Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men. There's 15 or 20 series that are loved and nourishing the audience on a regular basis, but then there's a huge number of series and movies that aren't being used at all. If none of it's being used, why aren't we putting it on AVOD where it will be used? We looked at what people are watching on Pluto and Tubi. They're loving Rawhide and Bonanza. They're not watching old series like Dynasty on Max. There is a platform where people have an expectation of what they want to watch, and we've been able to get a real vision into what people are consuming and ultimately what gives us a roadmap. So basically I think that what he's talking about there is, hey, we're going to put all our old shit on we're going to license it out to a bunch of other platforms where they expect to see that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Because that makes sense. No one even, he's right. No one knows who owns Rawhide. They're going to go to Tubi and they're going to go, oh, hey, Rawhide.
Yeah.
Because, Tubi is basically streaming for old people.
Oh.
It is. It's totally that. I say that as an old person who goes to Pluto and Tubi and go, hey, it's a free service and they got old shows that I can just literally look at like an old cable. It's like they have like the old cable TV guide channel.
Oh, really?
That's what it looks like. And you just kind of scroll down and go like, oh, I want to watch that. That's like on Pluto. So as an old person who will go to Pluto and watch, just throw on Rescue 911 in the background for hours. Yeah, that is true. That's true of my life anyway.
He's got you at least.
He's got me. You're like, oh, hey, they're doing a Saved by the Bell marathon. Cool.
I mean, I have the Monsters theme on my head right now because I was trying to watch Leverage earlier.
Yeah.
On Freevee.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a thing I appreciate about that, though.
Yeah.
At the bottom left, it says how many seconds are left in your ad. You can plan your life a little bit. I kind of like that.
Uh-huh. And he did say the audience will tell you what they love. We could see it on Max and what people spend time with. He also said during the call, let me be clear, we did not get rid of any show that was helping us.
Oh, that is going to go over badly.
Well, and you know what? I think he. I don't care.
It's
That's very blunt. That's very blunt,
I'm not.
and I appreciate that.
I'm not sure I agree or disagree with him on that. I'm just telling you. I would just love to have told him that sentence is going to go over poorly.
Yeah, well, some people are delusional and can't understand that this is a business and they have to actually run the business and look at numbers and go, yeah, that show's not working.
No, and that's a good point. I would like to have gone back in time and preloaded this conversation with saying they have no money. Like they have no money. Cash flow is an actual issue. Market cap's ridiculous. Like they actually have to run this company. So still sick, sorry. But I think I heard speculation about this a while back. If all Zaslav accomplishes is just like putting enough things on hold that the cash flow gets back, that's maybe all he actually has to do.
Yeah.
At the moment, just trying not to spend money where it isn't an absolute, grand slam.
I mean, they talk a lot about it in this Q3 call. So, I mean, just getting down to the nitty gritty of merging the HBO Max and Discovery Plus platforms, and talking about subscribers and actually considering money made instead of subscriber count. And I mean, they get deep.
I like it.
He says, this is more than just a dollar tally of what we've saved on an expense line. It is more than just a number. We are fundamentally rethinking and reimagining how this organization is structured, and we are empowering our business unit leadership to transform their organizations with an owner's mindset and a view on quality and accountability. So that's all I've got on Zaslav for now. But if you're at all interested in hearing deep conversation about where Warner Brothers is right now, I mean, you can absolutely find that Q3 call for free somewhere. But we've also got it on our Patreon.
I like it being there. I mean, I know we're not trying to shill for this motherfucker.
No,
but
no, I'm not.
I don't think I would have made a lot of very different decisions than what he's made.
Yeah.
Some, yes. Majority, probably not.
Yeah. I mean, it is a situation where he's got to cut the fat. He's got to cut the fat or he's going to be gone.
Oh, he's going to be gone either way.
Probably. But the problem is we don't want someone else coming in, who might not know. We don't want to keep having shakeups, because if somebody else comes in, they're going to restructure everything again, because that's what CEOs do. That's what new bosses do.
Yeah. You got to put your thumbprint on it.
They got to throw the filing cabinets out. They've got to, restructure the office. They got to tear down the desk and put it somewhere else. It's
put up the hang in there with kitty inspirational poster.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
So I just don't want anybody else coming in right now. It's like, no, let's give it a few years. Let's give it 10 years.
Yeah, I feel that.
Black Adam is actually doing well at the box office.
Yeah, had a good.
It's not doing the Batman numbers or anything, but it's 3 weeks in a row #1. So,
yep, hanging in there.
Yeah, it's doing all right. Apparently, Viola Davis originally wasn't in the movie. Aldous Hodge said that when they first shot the movie, she wasn't in it at all. He said we all had completely different scenes, but when we did reshoots, I saw her name on the script and I said, "Oh shit!" I worked with Viola when I was 12 or 14 years old on a show called City of Angels, and even though we weren't face to face, it was awesome to share the screen with her again in something of this magnitude. Nice. So that's a nice little interesting peek into some of the reshoots of Black Adam. Waller wasn't a thing at first. So who was the JSA taking orders from back then? Yeah. Or were they?
I mean, that or he didn't get those pages.
Yeah. And according to the Direct, Black Adam filmed and deleted a second post-credit scene that would have teased Dr. Fate. There was a basically like we just cut to the Dr. Fate helmet in the desert, and a hand kind of swoops down and grabs it. We don't see whose hand it was. I want to know. I want to see it. David Sandberg says that Shazam: Fury of the Gods has wrapped, is finished. The final cut is locked. Is done.
I saw that one, and what looked like a picture of Shazam just sort of hanging in the air with all the electricity around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
Looked really good.
So that comes out March 17th. Of course, I'm excited about that. Hey, Dave here. Real quick before you close out movie news. Man, we are just not used to this bevy of DC news coming in. And that's one of the things I really love about James Gunn and Peter Safran so far, is that they have really been pretty open and they're communicating with fans. They're not treating us like the asshole that we went to high school with, that we try to avoid in Walmart. And so a lot of stuff has been going down. And like on November 6th, Jason Momoa he put out this video where he was just really excited and talking about how he just, he just found out like some of the greatest news he's ever had in his life, and he can't talk about it, but he started going, "Mwah, Maestro, you know who you are," Mwah, whatever. And concurrently, James Gunn started an account on Mastadon. Everything with Elon Musk running Twitter into the ground. And James says, "Glad to be here." And he posted a picture of Lobo. And so E.T. Canada was talking to Jason Momoa, and Momoa says, "I think with Peter Safran and Mr. Gunn at the helm now at DC, I'm very excited about that. There are a lot of cool things that are going to be coming up, and one of my dreams come true will be happening under their watch. So stay tuned." And then comicbook.com's Brandon Davis spoke to Jason Momoa, and they were talking about his Netflix film Slumberland. And they told him that James Gunn posted that picture of Lobo. And he was like, "Really? Let me see." And just kept going, So, and they asked him, Brandon asked him if that was regarding the Dream DC project that Momoa's been talking about. And Momoa says, "Well, everyone knows I'm a comic book fan. The comic I collected the most, and I have every comic there is. You can do your research and find out what it is." Now, I couldn't find, I spent a few hours digging into this, and I could not find where he said what his favorite comic book was that he had every issue of was, but I did find a number of things from a few years ago where he talked about his audition process when he was brought in with Zack Snyder, and Zack asked him who he wanted to play, and he said Lobo, and Snyder was like, "Nope, you're Aquaman." So that might be an indicator. So then, again, talking about Slumberland in a recent interview, he didn't confirm that he was playing Lobo. He says, "Well, I have to obviously blink, so there's no way I can get out of this without blinking, but that would be amazing if that happened. I'm just happy that Gunn is at the helm and Safran, who is just like my heart, so I'm in good hands, and I think comic book fans around the world are going to be very excited." So yeah, I don't know what this means for Aquaman. I don't know anything. Obviously, it's interesting. Like, I think he could theoretically play both. I don't know if this means that there's a Flashpoint thing happening where he's not going to be Aquaman anymore, but it seems like, if they really wanted to do Lobo with Momoa and they wanted for him to keep playing Aquaman, they could do that. They could have him, they could, put CGI on him. They could put prosthetics on him, make him look a little different. Lobo is very different than Aquaman. I think they could work that if they really wanted to. Now, for people concerned about the Snyderverse, we talked about that earlier in this episode, and Zack Snyder kind of debunked him doing more DC movies. On the Preston and Steve show, he says, "As far as I know, I'm doing my thing, and I haven't had anyone give me a call." Now, he would say that if he was under an NDA. He would say that if they were in negotiations with him. I think it's equally possible that they literally haven't talked to him yet about that. But as you know, we talked about in this episode, James Gunn and Peter Safran are trying to figure out what the next steps are. They're building out their universe, and I don't think Zack would blame them. I certainly don't. Like, that's what Jason and I would do. Now, according to the Wrap, Gunn and Safran were welcomed by the Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav during a company town hall on Thursday, and Zaslav told them they were working on a Bible for what a single cohesive DC universe would look like, which would narratively play off of each other and apparently span multiple businesses over a full decade. And Safran says this was such a unique opportunity to tell one great overarching story, one beautiful big story across film, television, gaming, live action, and animation. Gunn says, "I love Superman and I love Batman. I love their interaction. I love the ways in which they're the same and the ways in which they are completely different. David, I just have to say quickly that I know that you are doing all this because you love these characters too, and you love the possibility and the hope that they represent. And that has been clear to us from the beginning. We would have never considered this if that wasn't the case. So thank you." Now, over at Mastadon, James Gunn has also shared some super disturbing Batmite artwork. And here's what makes me happy about that. The first picture he shared, one of them was like just weird and creepy. Like, oh my God. It doesn't look like Batmite at all. Except he's small. He looks like some sort of a lava creature. But the first one he shared was a Batmite, and Batmite, of course, is Batman's biggest fan. So, and he's a, fourth wall character. He's a fan of all the different iterations of Batman. So you have Batmite, and then behind him you have like a Val Kilmer on the magazine from Batman Forever. You have the Adam West and Burt Ward Batman and Robin. There are multiple references to different on-screen iterations of Batman. And he's holding a thing that has Batman versus Superman. So I love the idea that, and he already teased Batmite in Peacemaker. I love the idea that Batmite might be something of a gateway, if not the Flash, but a further gateway into the multiverse, and really bringing about that which DC was known for long before Marvel. The advent of the multiverse in the storytelling. So I'm pretty excited. Jason and I got a chance to talk about this very briefly at his daughter's birthday party on Saturday, and it was much too loud to sit down and have a conversation on a mic. But there's a lot brewing, man. There's a lot brewing, and I'm very excited to see this. And if James is pushing into multiverse as much as it seems like he is, whether Snyder has been contacted or not, I still stand by my claim. This is the best shot we have. So boycotting movies and being a dick, it's not going to get us anywhere. One last bit here. George Lopez was on the Brian Scott podcast and said of Blue Beetle, which he is in, he said, "I think Batman is in our movie." I'm down for it. Let's see it. All right. I'll pop back over to the original recording. That is the movie news as I have it. Would you like to go to break before we get into all the TV stuff?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
I'm gonna
Don't nobody go nowhere. What?
I'm gonna cough a bit and pour honey down my throat.
Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah. This week we're sponsored by Rusty Nails. All turned upwards. In your grass. Some of them in your bed.
This week on DC On Screen, we are sponsored by the larva of silverfish in your clothing.
that contract's almost over. So next week, it begins our era with bed bugs. The itch you cannot erase.
Oh, God. And we're back. So I'm super excited, man. Netflix renewed The Sandman.
Arguably the best television show this year.
Huh.
We'll get into that later. But
look, man, you know, I don't like saying stuff like that because The Sandman is fantastic. Definitely one of the best DC shows, I think, and in my opinion. But you know, I like so much. I like so many different things. Like, I love Resident Alien. Such a heartfelt but hilarious show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love Atlanta. That is sheer brilliance. But nothing, it's not like there's nothing like The Sandman on television.
Yeah, that's better put than what I said. I like it.
I also think is brilliant.
It is also that, yeah.
So, I don't know why I went down that hole exactly, but
yeah, I get you. I like the lack of hyperbole kind of argument. I still maintain that even using the sacred word best.
God,
the casting for Sandman might be the best I've ever seen in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. I think. I mean, I don't know who else would have played any of those people. I mean, I have some ideas, but but yeah. So it said the article with the announcement said that when Sandman launched at the start of August, it was watched for 69.5 million hours in its first week, doubling this in its second week to 127.5 million, scoring 77.2 million in its third week, and getting 53.8 million in its fourth week. That ain't bad, dude.
I mean, yeah, I needed a second to watch it, but who else did?
Well, Gaiman himself said that the numbers showed that people were like watching it slowly and letting it resonate.
Oh no, that's a real thing though. Like, this isn't. That wasn't the kind of show you just watch and like fall asleep to it and miss half an episode. Like, you watch that goddamn show.
Yeah, if I was Netflix, I would probably start releasing it weekly. I would.
No, there's a lot of debate on that in the streaming services, but I could go either way.
So yeah, the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of streaming series here, I am really excited about this. HBO Max has cast, or the showrunners of the Penguin have cast Cristin Milioti as Sophia Falcone.
I don't know her.
Oh,
help me.
Have you seen Palm Springs?
Yeah. Oh, her.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She was the mom on How I Met Your Mother.
Mm-hmm.
She was the mother. She's also in this fantastic show right now that's awaiting season 2, a season 2 renewal. It's this show called The Resort on Peacock, and it's from the people who did Palm Springs. Very strange series. This is like a sort of a mystery type of show, and it's kind of a dark comedy. It's also got something to do with time travel. So it's really fantastic. And I have watched the first season and highly recommend it. It is really good. But yeah, her playing Sophia Falcone, yes, she is fantastic. She's been in a ton of stuff over the years.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
She's always great. She can do drama. She can do comedy. She can mix in a little bit of both. And I'm happy to see her playing Sophia. If you'll recall, Crystal Reed played her on Gotham.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it says, let's see, Sophia and the Penguin will reportedly be fighting over control of Gotham City in the show. So that sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, naturally.
Filling that old power vacuum. That power vacuum.
Of course.
Dead Boy Detectives added 2 more cast members. Caitlin Riley of Hacks and Loot, and Max Jenkins of Dead to Me. That's a good show. And the Mysteries of Laura have been cast in the recurring roles of Liddy and Kingham. So I'm just shocked that Dead Boy Detectives is still happening. But God bless, I guess.
Yeah, in a way, I get it. It's a neat premise. On the other hand, I'm confused by the casting.
How so? Oh, just the recasting the people from Doom Patrol?
Yeah.
Well, for all we know, they didn't want to come back.
Yeah, it's possible. Entirely possible. I'm not shitting on it, just curious.
Yeah. So, and of course, our last piece of news, Stargirl was sadly canceled at the CW. They did give them time, though. This wasn't, and as far as I can tell, this was not a Zaslav thing. This was a Next Star thing. The company that bought CW. And but they did give them time. They told Jeff Johns, this is probably going to be your last season, so write it as such. And so they will be wrapping it up. It's going to air through December 7th, and then it will be over. And I'm sorry. I enjoy Stargirl. It's a pretty good show. It once was great. It's still pretty good, though.
I've enjoyed everything I've seen from that show, but I don't know how long it could go.
I mean, I'm sure they could stretch it out and do 9 years, 6 of which are terrible, like they did on The Flash. But I don't want to see that. I'm a big British TV fan. Like, I really love how the British do it, where they're just like,
tune out.
You're gonna have like 6 episodes in a movie.
Yeah,
you're gonna have 6 episodes in a holiday special, and then that's it.
Yeah, I get it.
And if the creator feels like doing something else, maybe 6 more episodes.
Yeah, I get behind that.
So, yeah, I'm fine with Stargirl being canceled. It takes a weight off of me. As much as I do enjoy it and think Breck Basinger and everybody else is fantastic, and it's a weight off. I look forward to it ending.
I know this sounds terrible in certain ways, but it's another thing that Jeff Johns isn't attached to.
Yes,
and
that too. That don't hurt.
I'm happy to have that off my plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that knowing the backstory of that character and thinking, man, I'm glad she got all the, I don't know. It's a tragic story for that character, but god damn, I hate that guy right now. Like, he is the villain at the moment.
Well, he was the villain of an old movie that we still haven't gotten over what he did, but
fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of there are a lot of feelings wrapped up in this for me, and putting all of the, is he a piece of shit racist or not aside, and was he an asshole to Zack Snyder aside, and everything else, even then I'm willing to go, you know what, I'm good. Like, let's end this show before it gets bad. And I think it had like 600,000 viewers a week or something like that, or an episode.
I think 660 was
something like that. Yeah,
premiere.
Yeah, just bye.
Yeah, I mean, even in that context, where, man, I don't like this guy professionally, he got to make a show about his sister, and yeah, it's hard not to think that's wholly admirable, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think the guy, based on what I can see, I don't think he's racist. I think he took the fact that he was married to a black lady to make himself believe that he knew everything there was to know, and felt like it gave him license to say whatever he wanted to say to whomever he wanted. And I think he's a dick. Not necessarily racist, but I think he's a dick.
Might be a bit of a twat.
Yeah, a little bit. But, that happens to people.
They do.
I'm gonna end this show. Is that okay?
I'm good with it.
Actually, and I'm gonna end it with this. We've got a 5-star review from Kale L. Yes, like the like the food, the kale. Yeah.
I do love kale.
Do you know the?
I mean,
I love
twice. I love kale and I love wordplay. So
Yeah.
far, I'm wholly on board.
Yeah, of course. I saw the name, and I just thought of Mark Maron's fantastic bit where he's talking about like walking down the street and someone just runs up to him and goes, "Are you eating kale?" Like, what? And how his dad took him to his dad used to take him to the buffet, and he's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "That's kale. They breed that for garbage." So Kale L, I can't say it, gives us 5 stars and says, 5 stars, y'all. Exactly the 2-star news and rambling I'm looking for. 3-star congeniality bonus.
Lovely. Thank you.
In reference to last week's 2-star review about how we're awesome, but it's not the news that whoever was looking for. Like, what?
Yep.
But yeah, if you guys want to give us a 5-star review or any star review, I only ask that if you give us a low number, like 1 to 3 stars, say, at least make your comment funny. At least make your review funny. That's my request.
I think it's facile. I think they always have been kind of funny for reasons that are
That's
obvious.
true. That's true. I just
Because
want to
we're the
soften the
greatest.
blow. I just want to soften the blow.
No. What's hilarious has always been the whole like 1 star, but I love these guys, or 5 stars, but they're terrible. Like it's the discrepancies that are so funny.
Yeah, they're the worst. They are sacks of shit.
Yeah, 5 stars.
It's like we have Rotten Tomatoes on our... the discrepancy between critic and audience is right there on every Apple review for us. But yeah, Apple Podcast. Go give us a review if you haven't done that. And thank you for listening. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. You can also support us on patreon.com/dconscreen. As I mentioned earlier, the $5 tier gives you every episode ad-free and whatever we wind up posting as extras. We recently released a Lost episode, and that's also where I posted the WBD Q3 audio. So it's a great way to support the show and make sure the show keeps being made. Boom. That's the pitch. That's it. That's all. Until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.